Troy in association with Yellowhammer News and YellowhammerNews.com. We're back at it, starting off a brand new week. And I don't think you've been traveling. It doesn't look like it. You've been home this weekend, Barry?
I have not. I've been in Mobile this weekend. Got back
weekend.
yesterday.
Wow,
Yep. And to great success, the Troy Trojans win another series. They beat South Alabama yesterday in a great game, 6-5 the final. Here's the, and those at Troy already know this. Here's the big trivia question. Only one college baseball team in the entire country has won every series that they've played in. Conference, non-conference, whatever. And it's the Troy Trojans. They have not lost a series all year. And they continue on. Big win. Now, Troy, they played 1 o'clock yesterday. They come back last night, got in 8 o'clock, 8:30, something like that. Not bad. You got to have an NCAA mandated day off, which is today. And then tomorrow, Alabama comes to Troy. 6 o'clock start time for that one. It's a sellout. Troy comes in ranked in every poll. So does Alabama. Should be a big game. Troy comes into that game, John, with a good bit of momentum. You know, they win the series on the road. Top of my head, I think Troy right now is 34-14 overall. Again, ranked in every poll. Alabama comes in after losing the series against Vanderbilt in Nashville. Now, Vanderbilt's number 15 in the country. Alabama's 16, 18, something like that. And they're coming in. But the game yesterday for Alabama, they had a chance to win the series against a top 15 team on the road in the SEC. Alabama was leading Vanderbilt yesterday in Nashville 7-2 with, I think, 2 outs in the 8th inning. Final score, Vanderbilt 9, Alabama 7. Vanderbilt scores 3 runs with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, and they score 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th, a walk-off home run, and Vanderbilt wins it 9-7. Wins the series. Bama baseball is going to be in the NCAA tournament. You know, I think they're tied with Auburn in the SEC standings in 7th place. Fans were not happy about that one. So they come to Auburn with a little bit of a
chip on their shoulder.
A red, what did Bubba Lewis call it?
It's called a red ass. And we use it a lot in golf. If you 3-putted or sculled one out of the bunker or took a unexpected double bogey and you get to the next tee and you swing a little harder. And
playing golf with your teeth clenched is not the way to go.
No, it's all about being fluid and
loose.
Yeah. But well, I'm glad to hear that about the Crimson Tide.
Coming to Troy on Tuesday.
I did not realize that. I did pick up some rumblings through my Alba phone about a series win against Tennessee. I'm not sure if they rolled Toomer's corner, but there was a lot of giddiness on my Alba phone about winning some regular season series in Knoxville. So I guess it was a big deal.
It doesn't take a big deal for success at Auburn for John to trot out the old, I wonder if they roll Toomer's corner. Anything happens at Auburn. Hey, I heard Bruce Pearl actually made the light at College and Magnolia without having to wait 3 minutes for it to cycle through. Did they roll Toomer's corner? Yeah, I heard my sister's cousin by marriage made an A in physiology at Auburn. Hey, do they roll Toomer's corner? All the time. Doesn't take much to get John to trot that one out. But Auburn did do it. Auburn did do it. They win 2 out of 3 against Tennessee. Everybody's battling weather. They had to postpone Saturday's games, so they played 2 on Sunday, and Auburn loses the first one at Tennessee in 11 innings, 5-4, and then they win the second game, 8-1 was the final score there. They had to play 7 because there's a like a curfew or something like that. So Auburn wins 2 out of 3 in Knoxville. I want to say for the first time in forever.
All right.
That's big for Auburn. They are in about a 4-way tie in 7th place with Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. Of course, the Texas Longhorns.
Oh, yeah.
Leading the
Get
SEC
used to it.
by 2 games over everybody else. They're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So
get used to it, folks.
Yeah.
Are you sure this is what you wanted? You'll probably hear that a lot from me in years to come as well.
They're not going anywhere. This success that they're having across all platforms, across all sports, I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Yeah,
no, I don't either. I think you're going to hear me probably say that quite a bit in the coming years. Did you really want this?
So.
But they're going to be good. But, so we got some college baseball. Of course, the SEC tournament, about a week or so away up in Hoover.
A couple of weeks, yeah.
That'll be interesting. I do understand the softball tournament. And I know this, Barry, because I had coffee with Philip this morning. Chris, the Bammer's already wondering if there's any musings. It's technically not a musings column, Chris, to be technical. It's a coffee with Philip, which is kind of a potpourri of subjects that Philip likes to throw out there from time to time. He mentioned something about Auburn and Alabama, the women getting together in softball at the tournament or something. And I went, oh, wow, that's refreshing to know. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, that'll be in Athens. And it is this weekend. I think we talked a little bit, or this week. It begins on Tuesday. I think we talked a little bit with Jason about that. Vanderbilt is the only school in the SEC that doesn't have softball.
I think they have bowling instead. I think they have a bowling team. They won the national title, I believe, in women's bowling.
Something like that. Bowling or archery or
sure.
Something like that.
I just don't see many graduates of Vanderbilt, Barry, hanging out at the bowling lanes when they get out of school. That just could be me. I don't see Lady Vanderbilt grad woofing down a Marlboro, drinking a Pabst Blue Ribbon and bowling.
Probably right.
I just don't see it.
You just don't. I can't visualize that.
I know that sounds like social profiling, something you're not supposed to do at an airport to randomly pick people out that you think look suspicious.
Right.
But I just don't see that. But who knows?
I never get pulled over. I think I got pulled over once in my life, and I fly a good bit. Not as much as John, but I fly a good bit. Only ever got pulled over once in my life out of that lane.
Yeah.
And it took like 3 seconds. The guy says, "Yeah, you're good to go." I think
had a guy
to a quota or something like that. You got people out there wearing dark glasses and hoodies and all this kind of stuff, and they complain because they get pulled over. Well, why are you wearing dark glasses?
Yeah,
you got a hoodie on for,
I'm with you there.
Rules.
I had a friend of mine that got yanked because his name matched a name they were looking for. He had the same name as somebody else out there, and his name popped up, and all the lights and bells and whistles went off, and they yanked him into a room. We're going, ooh, is he going to make the trip with us?
Moon River.
Hate that he's got to stay back. Hate it for him. But it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah. The SEC tournament begins tomorrow up in Athens. Auburn and Alabama will play in the final game of 3 tomorrow night. John has probably detailed this in some way or fashion. Auburn is again, 15 teams play softball in the SEC. Auburn seed number 15.
No way.
Number 15.
Wait a minute.
Remember back whenever they were playing in the College World Series and stuff, and then the coach got in some trouble, and that's a long time ago.
Hold on a second. So am I to believe that with that 15th seed, that also indicates they're the worst team in women's softball in the SEC?
I would say that's the proper read on the situation, John.
Philip didn't point that out.
No. Well, Philip covers softball.
I know
he is their softball guy, and I don't know that he's pointed that out all year. And I've, unlike John, I have read some of his softball coverage. John's like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Now,
played in the national championship game in 2013, won the national championship, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. I don't think he's ever even slowed down when softball comes up.
Should I not be educated and informed about every aspect of this team?
Well, see,
I would not have known that unless you brought that up just a moment ago.
Well, and John doesn't want to miss that opportunity. I mean, that would have been gone forever. Auburn's the worst softball team in the SEC. He does say this, and I hope you caught up with this, from Philip Marshall, John's favorite writer, senior writer at auburnundercover.com, in his random thoughts.
That's scary.
He says this, just in case you wondered. I had a short visit with Auburn president Chris Roberts after Friday's softball game. What a nice man. Doesn't that make you I mean, sometimes you just run into a feel-good thought.
Yeah.
Philip Marshall on the record for everybody to see. He goes on the record and says he thinks the president at Auburn is a nice man. $9.95 a month, John. $9.95, and it flies out of his pocket. He doesn't even. John doesn't even break stride. There's some things for those of you who have known John for many years. You know, he's not always like this. Matter of fact, he's rarely like this, where he just opens up the wallet and says, "Here, $9.95." I don't know how you're getting away with this, because I mean, I'd pay double. I'd pay triple.
Sure.
So here's your $9.95. Here we go.
If I got a notice that said your subscription is going up to $19.95, okay, so what?
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
That's exactly not even bet an eyelash. Not one.
No, just don't let me miss it. Make sure I know it's coming 3 or 4 times a week. That's all I'm asking.
My subscription ran out because I didn't authorize the $19.95. So somebody, wait a minute,
not happening.
Yeah.
And I appreciate him bringing out that he spoke with the Auburn president. It would have been nice, Barry, many, many years ago at that Auburn football practice when he was sitting on that exercise bike, that he would say, I ran into John Longshore at an Auburn practice yesterday. He's really a nice guy.
The odd thing was about that, and I was there, was it's out of the intramural fields over by the by Fraternity Row at Auburn, over there next to the Erlon McWhorter Gymnastics Center.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's wide open out there. I mean, it's a big pasture. It's a big field, all that kind of stuff, with about 2 or 3 football fields. And there's a lot of room for everybody to kind of get around. John and I were over there, you know, looking around. We're checking out practice. You can walk back a little bit. You can go visit with, you know, some of the other riders out there, but you have to go about, 15 yards this way. So it's kind of a big meadow out there off of the practice field. And right in the middle of it is an exercise bike, in the middle of a field. It's not like it was over there by the side of the Erlon McWhorter Center, like plugged into a wall outlet or something like that. And it's in the middle of the field. It's like you're going into that walking trail over there at the Blunt Cultural Park. And, right in the middle of the field, right in the middle of nowhere, there's an exercise bike. And there's Philip. He's not even pedaling it. He's just sitting on it. He's got his feet on the pedals. Remember? He got his feet on the pedals like he was taking a break, or he was just about to get cranked up or something like that. And 2 things made me wonder. Number one, why in the world did they put an exercise bike in the absolute middle of a field? And number 2, how long is that exercise bike going to last with Philip sitting on it? Because, it was the metal on that thing was stressed.
Whoever brought that exercise bike and put it there, they didn't do it so Philip would have a place to sit. I don't imagine that was the reason for it.
If they wanted to have a place for Philip to sit, it would have been something a little sturdier than that exercise bike.
Probably so. So, So, Chris, there you have it. There
you go. There's our Philip Marshall.
Their music. When we get back, you mentioned this, Barry. Troy has not lost a season series in baseball this year. Can't say that for a Major League Baseball franchise.
Really?
We'll
okay. All right.
We'll get into that. Barry, I had high hopes of opening the show today with, okay, I'm a believer. I'm turning over a new leaf.
The Moneyline magician, Josh Harris, is right. Braves are heading to the playoffs.
Yep, they proved me wrong. And, well, there again, we'll go into a lot of detail. They were able to scrape a win out last night, barely, but they did to avoid the sweep.
Easy now. Let's not tease it too much. Let's get into the meat and potatoes when we come back. Later on, we do have Josh Harris, the Moneyline magician. Of course, we got a lot of pro basketball to catch up with as well.
Boy.
A lot of collegiate stuff like we always do. But we are headed out, ready to go. It's our Monday show live here on the on all of the different platforms and venues you can catch us at. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Longshore and McKnight, about 17 minutes past the hour, in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You can catch us there at yellowhammernews.com. There's always a write-up every afternoon as well, letting you know about what the show was about today. Also at Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify. So many ways to check us out. We really appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. You'll always get notifications about what we got going on. You'll never miss any of our content.
Braves win. Braves win. Austin Riley last night, 2 home runs, and the Braves beat the defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers last night by a final count of 4-3. Braves win. Braves win. Braves win. And they head into another home series starting tonight against the Cincinnati Reds. Big time.
I think that's a little deceptive. They did win last night. That is true. That is true.
All right.
True. The 2 prior nights, not so much. And I got to admit, I got to come full circle here. Did I watch 1 minute of any of those 3 games?
A pitch, like when you're scrolling through or anything. Did you see Schwellenbach throw a fastball high to somebody and you kept on going at all?
No.
Anything?
No, I did not. Because Friday night, I had to find it on some. Actually, I'm putting on. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I think I got a little poison ivy over the weekend, so I'm putting a little calamine lotion on my.
Oh yeah.
Areas I got affected.
I remember.
I'm a big fan, Barry. I'm a big fan of the clear calamine lotion. It works the best, I believe.
Well, look at John with the live commercial there. I like that.
How about that? Hey, if you want to send me some,
you
can send some to me. Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago that you got like poison ivy on your face and you couldn't shave for like a week.
It was terrible. It was horrible.
I've never had poison ivy on my face before. John was miserable.
Yeah, it's not good. And you get it on like the inside of your forearms right here. That's kind of a tender area. Yeah, woo, it's tough. Okay. Anybody got any home remedies? Let us know. But to answer your question, no, I didn't see a pitch. Wasn't planning on it. I will say this though, I did check scores. I was very interested to see what happened. Woke up Saturday morning, got a cup of coffee before I checked in on Phillip. I checked the Brave scores, did it again yesterday, did it again this morning, and I went, oh, geez, we were so close.
They won it, yes. Friday night series opener against the defending World Series champions. Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw a 2-hitter at the Braves.
Yep.
And the Dodgers win it 2-1. 2-1. 2-1. Great game down through the end. Close game. John would have been bored out of his skull because there wasn't enough scoring, but every pitch had some importance. Now, Saturday, it's true. It got away from the Braves a little bit. That happens. Braves lose it 10-3. That's when Schwellenbach pitched. I thought that would be John's best chance.
Was that maybe was that an afternoon game on Saturday by chance? Or no, that was Saturday night on Fox.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was a night game.
No, it should have been easier for John. Well, it will have been more difficult for John to ignore it.
Yeah,
because it was on Fox, and John likes to hang out on the Fox family of networks.
I do.
Took a little bit more work for him to not pay attention to that.
I went to a Braves game at Turner Field well, obviously, if I went to Turner, not even Fulton County, excuse me. So that tells you how long ago it was.
Way back when.
On the 4th of July playing the Chicago Cubs, it was so dadgum hot. I thought, how do people do this? How do they do this? And I was about 22 at the time. Oh, brutal. But they did play it tonight, so good for those fans.
Yep. I mentioned Yoshinobu Yamamoto got the win on Friday. Saturday for the Dodgers, it was Roki Sasaki, and the Dodgers win it 10-3. But again, the aforementioned victory for the Braves yesterday came by a run, 4-3 over the Dodgers. Again, 2 home runs from Austin Riley. Thank gosh, Bryce Elder got the win, and Raul Iglesias got the save for the Braves to win 1 out of 3 against the defending World Series champions.
Well, at least it wasn't a total embarrassment. How about that? I'm looking for the positives here.
They are tied for 3rd in the National League East. 3 games under 500. It's true.
Well, not bad.
But they're going to try and do something against the Reds, who are decent this year, starting tonight with the beginning of a series. I believe it begins at 6:05 Central Time in Atlanta.
I do see, Barry, that the Marlins are right there with them in the standings, so maybe they can get, about, I don't know, they probably have about 30 games left with the Marlins, so that'll help them out. Assume that they play.
As a matter of fact, the Dodgers play the Marlins this week coming up. So there's your Braves recap. They survive a series, winning 1 out of 3 against, again, the defending World Series champion.
Barry was I was really pulling for him. I really was. I was hoping things would get better, but it is a long season. It is a long season.
And John underlines that and highlights that. It is a long season.
And I've used this terminology, I've used this rationale many a times. Look, can we just get to the All-Star break? People, don't panic. Let's just get to the All-Star break, see what happens, see where we are at that point. That seems to comfort people some. I don't really believe it. I just say it to make people feel better. Easy. It's
Right now, if somebody were to threaten him with bodily harm and says, John, when is the All-Star break?
Ooh.
Memorial Day? Mother's Day?
I think, Barry, it's
Labor Day? Is it?
During SEC Media Days. It's normally that week.
It is. Yes. Pretty perceptive.
Last year in Dallas, the All-Star game was going on while the Media Days was going on out there. And you know what? I didn't go to the game. I don't know. I had a chance.
You did not. You didn't have a chance. I mean, you had a chance to buy a ticket. I guess that's what he's talking about. He had a chance to shell out some money and go to the game like every other American.
I'll say this. I was as close to the Major League Baseball All-Star game that I've ever been to. So I had a chance. I mean, I was there.
Probably
what was it, within a 10-mile radius? I was probably 10 miles from the ballpark in which they played it in, I guess. I'm thinking, I could probably go. I know some guys out there that went. I mean, I heard, hey, we're going to the All-Star. We're going to the All-Star game tonight. I went.
Is that this weekend? Really? Is that?
Are you really going?
Oh, man, they had the home run derby contest. They had the futures game. They had the dunking booth and stuff. And John, the tilt-a-whirl. And John's like, that's been going on. John is 10 miles away.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, okay.
So, Barry, I got, and this was not from Range Pro, but I got a text yesterday, actually last night, and Bill from Baltimore touches on it today. Scotty Scheffler, 31 under.
Crap out of everybody.
31 under on the tour this weekend, getting ready for some majors coming up pretty soon. And maybe Scheffler's back on his game, kind of been quiet in the early part of the PGA season, but man, 31 under. Whew.
Yeah, that's his first win of the year. Just to give you some perspective, 31 under at the always and forever the Byron Nelson Classic.
Oh yeah,
they call it the CJ Cup. 253. That's the PGA Tour scoring record for a 4-round event. And 31 under par, wins by 8 strokes. And of course, it's outside Dallas, which is his hometown, where he made his PGA Tour debut 11 years ago. And gosh, I had the number in front of me. I was going to write it down, but I was on the bus yesterday. Scheffler has won something like 10% of every event that he's entered on the PGA Tour.
Wow.
Like 1 out of every 10 he wins. Tiger was something like 18%. 19, which is insane, which is crazy. Tiger won 80-something events, and he was in 250. So Scheffler is doing really well. Like Bill from Baltimore says, obviously a candidate to win the PGA in 2 weeks. Now, I'm like with the PGA, really like any of the majors, like John is about the All-Star game. Really? Is that coming up? John will tell me, hey, don't forget, you've got the Open coming up.
Yes, the Open.
Up? Or hey, the Masters. Okay, I guess it's about time. The azaleas are in bloom. I'm the same way with that. I like watching it and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a huge golf fan. I would rather watch a 2-1 baseball game. But I like watching Scheffler. What? I think, isn't the PGA, somebody made a snide comment on social media, isn't the PGA going to be held where he got arrested, put in handcuffs? What wasn't that before the PGA? The PGA.
I remember the incident. If it's the PGA, I don't think they would be back on the rotation that quick. Usually, you got to cycle through about a 10-year period before it gets back to your location.
Maybe that was the event, if not the venue. Who knows?
Maybe it was the Open. Not sure. Could have been. But I do remember that happening, no doubt. I was trying to get to the venue early in the morning. It's at Quail Hollow, which is near Charlotte. There's actually a tour event. Last year it was at Valhalla in Louisville. But Charlotte at Quail Hollow, they have the Wachovia is played there. It's a normal PGA stop. Maybe they're not having it this year and having the PGA instead. I've never seen it, never played it. Looks to be a beautiful golf course on television, but that will be coming up. And I like how the PGA Barry's been moved to May because it used to be in August, and I think it was forgotten about.
Because
football.
Football.
Yeah.
They know not to mess with football.
Yeah. So I think it's a big move because we had that gap between the Masters. You have the TPC, which is considered the fifth major, but not officially in March. And you got the Masters in April. And then you'd have a gap in May. And May to me has always been the prettiest month to play golf. It is actually next week, May 15th through the 18th at Quail Hollow. Xander Schauffele is your defending champion. If you were wondering who won the PGA last year.
I like him. Yep. I might have him again. I might pick him again. Also, one other note before we go to break. You didn't watch the Braves, correct?
No.
Did you catch any of the 151st Kentucky Derby? 17.7 million viewers did on NBC. Yeah. That's the most watched Kentucky Derby since 1989.
A lot of people gambling on it.
Yeah, you said that you've bet on the horses before.
I have.
You've put a little money on the ponies in your career.
I have done that. Yes, I have.
Does it make much of a difference that it was rainy up there?
Sloppy track. You got to consider that. Yeah, you got to factor that into your handicapping. Sloppy track, a little slower. You know, do you want to get a mudder? You want a horse that can handle the mud. And then you got to think about it. You know, if you're in the back of the pack, I mean, you see these jockeys when the race is over. I mean, their goggles are all muddy. Yeah. How's the horse feel? I mean, you got to think those horses in the back are getting mud in their eyes too.
Yeah, it's like Jerry Seinfeld once, paraphrase him. That horse is back there thinking, I better be getting me an extra large oat bag after this is over with.
Yeah. So, you definitely have to factor that. Same thing with dogs. I mean, if you got a dog that's not sure-footed and he gets around that curve and you ever seen a dog slide and, not trip and just kind of lose it? And the dog starts rolling and tumbling and then pops back up, gets running again. It's like they know what to do. They've done it before.
When I was a little kid, we used to torment our dog because, we'd throw his ball. He's a little dog. We'd throw his ball and he'd have to take it's like one of those cartoons. He'd have to take like 4 or 5 steps before he can make it. And then you try to make him go around the corner and he'd slip and he'd bang into the closet and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dogs on a tile floor. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's got to be like what it's like out at some of those
dogs. But to answer, I'm trying to think, what did I do Saturday? I mean, it was kind of rained early in the morning. Yep. I mean, I was doing a lot of yard work type stuff. Maybe they think that's where I picked some of this stuff up. But I'm thinking, went to dinner Saturday night, but Saturday afternoon, I'm trying to figure out what I did. But I did not see the Derby on Saturday. I missed that too. I missed a lot of things over the weekend. I don't know what was going on. Now that spring football's over, I was wondering though, aren't SEC meetings coming up? I want to say that it feels like it's always the first week in May.
I don't know. I always thought it was the last week in May. I haven't checked, but I don't know that they got a whole lot they can meet about until we find out more about this house settlement, because otherwise they're just sitting there talking about the same old stuff.
When we come back, Barry, I understand there was a brief meeting in Tuscaloosa Thursday night between the president, the GOAT, and Senator Tuberville.
And
I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall.
Were you not?
No, I was not. I wasn't at the graduation. Yeah.
They could have flown you in there. They got choppers, right?
Well, I could have probably gotten it worked out before the 3 of them left. Been pretty easy.
Heck, you could have gotten your wife or your kids to set you up on a Zoom call or something. I could have.
Anything.
All right, we got to talk about that when we come back.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting note come up.
We'll
interesting
do that.
nugget. Plus the NBA playoffs. We got to touch on that as well. We're underway on the Monday show in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs. Okay, about 24 minutes to the top of the hour on this Monday, Longshore and McKnight in conjunction with Yellowhammer News. Check us out at yellowhammernews.com. Bear, I heard some bits and pieces of this. Obviously, President Trump was in Tuscaloosa last week for the graduation. Nick Saban was there. Tommy Tuberville was there. And a lot of articles about this. I'm checking out one at cbssports.com. Our man Dennis Dodd had a little thing, he was, or actually his name is part of this article as well, but basically Trump and Saban, and I'm told Tuberville was in on the meeting as well. It doesn't really say that. It just mentions his name later in the article.
Just because he's an Aub or just what? Well,
he was there. He was in Tuscaloosa. One of the accounts that I had read that all three of them had briefly talked about this while they were together. In Tuscaloosa. Maybe these people just didn't know that or whatnot. But anyway, considering an executive order aimed at greater scrutiny toward NIL deals in college athletics. Had the meeting with Nick Saban, Tommy Tuberville. And there again, I'm not sure Trump can just, with the stroke of a pen, get this all cleared up. I mean, you would think congressional action would also need to be a part of this as well.
Well, plus, he's had a few executive orders out. Executive orders from the president cannot countermand existing legislation. I mean, basically the executive order came about. I think it was first like Theodore Roosevelt 120 years ago, whose view of the Constitution was the president's powers are anything that he wants it to be that's not limited by the Constitution. Hey, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that I can't, do this, so I'm going to do this. But it can't countermand an existing law, that's already out there. We'll overturn that law with the stroke of a pen when Congress has had to do all that. So there is legislation out there concerning trade and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know that he can have an executive order that just says NIL will be limited, which I don't think is what Saban's not talking about eliminating NIL. Saban's talking about having some sort of guardrails to it, reforming NIL more than anything else. Got
to have some structure, no doubt. I think we can all agree with that. I don't know, maybe Texas doesn't agree with it, but I think we can all agree that is a part of college athletics that needs some big-time structure.
Now, was the meeting with the president, did it have the same tone as those times when Greggy goes in there? went in there. Saban doesn't not the head football coach anymore.
Yeah.
Or when Stewie goes up there, and all of a sudden, Stewie will get in his office and he'll have the red light beeping on his phone, and that phone is it's a red glowing phone anyway, and he picks it up, and the secretary says Saban in 10 minutes, and then he goes over to that statue bust in his office, and he flips open the head and hits that button, and that gets the bat pole ready, and he goes down and makes it under, and sitting in the office in the ante room waiting. Mr. Saban will see, Coach Saban will see you now, and he'll come in. I don't think that was the case with Trump. I don't think Saban says, "Hey, Don, come on up. I need to talk with you."
Speaking of
wouldn't
Greg
be the most
Byrne,
shocking thing ever.
I didn't see him at any of the graduation festivities. You'd have thought maybe the AD would have maybe got his picture with the president. Who knows? I don't know. Since you mentioned his name,
well, he's got to do a lot of fundraising, and there's probably some big hitters who probably wouldn't. I mean, he's got. Being the AD is political. I don't care what anybody says. You got to try to not offend as many people as you can not offend at all. And there are some people who would be offended.
Oh, yeah.
That he was on the stage with the current.
I wonder if he asked Trump if he'd donate to Alabama's NIL. I mean, he seems to like Alabama a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe, why not? Chris says the president, a Bammer, and an Alb sit down to talk. Sounds like a joke.
Yeah, it does, Will Trump, and he's not been in office in this term very long. He's still got a long time to go. I know some of our listeners and viewers don't even like to think about that, but he's still got a long time to go.
Is he not running again? I mean,
he says he's not interested, but if he got a phone call from Chris Roberts, who Philip Marshall says, what a very nice man.
Very nice guy.
And Chris says, President Trump, hey, this is Chris. Yeah, I was wondering if you could, Chris Roberts. Yeah, I was wondering if you, I'm the president at Auburn University. Yeah. We have graduation coming up in a couple of years. Would you like to, hello?
Barry,
that's would the world absolutely turn on its ear if Trump spoke in an all
things?
W did one time
at Auburn. Yeah, he did. He flew to Montgomery, helicopter.
Remember,
over.
we had that sound effect that I played for years on the radio, where he gave a big, heartfelt.
Oh, yeah.
Eagle.
I remember that. Yeah,
and
sure
the crowd
do.
went nuts. And
always liked Bush till that day. Yeah.
So what about with Trump? Why not?
I think, it's kind of like John Cohen calling up the athletic director at Notre Dame.
I thought about that as a comparison.
Trying to schedule a home and away series. What's more realistic? What is more likely? Auburn scheduling a home and away with Notre Dame in football, or Trump coming to deliver the commencement address?
I think probably Trump coming to deliver the commencement address, but John presents it the wrong way. Auburn scheduling a home and home with Notre Dame. Actually, the hang-up is Notre Dame scheduling a home and home with Auburn. This shows just how disjointed John is about Notre Dame. John loves him some Notre Dame. He equates the athletic director at Notre Dame with the president of the United States. And that guy's got the hang up. That guy, the problem ain't Auburn. Auburn's like, Notre Dame, what's the big deal? John says, what's the big deal? It's Notre Dame,
Yes.
I don't know that they have nearly as much internal drive to get that done as John does to get that done. I don't even know that it's
I still
I'll never
stand by it today, Barry. I don't care if we go to 10 conference games. That ain't a bad idea. But the talk is 9. But I'm going to even push it further. If we had a 10-game conference schedule out of 12 regular season games,
right?
And Auburn called John Cohen and said, listen, we've got an opening in 29 and 30 for a home and away. You think he's going to go, nah, we're not interested. We got 10 regular conference games. I think it would be more like, can we play it any sooner than that? I mean, they would be falling all over themselves to get a home and away with Notre Dame, despite the fact they got 10 conference games they got to deal with as well.
Now, years ago, John used to present this as an option. If I was Auburn, and Notre Dame had to have it this way, I'd agree to a 2-for-1. Yes. They come to our place twice, and we'll go to Auburn once. And I'm thinking, why would they do that?
Yeah.
Heck no, I wouldn't do that. We are Auburn University, a full standing member of the SEC. Hang on a minute, Philip Marshall. We played for the national championship in 2010, and we in 2013 we won the national championship in 2010. We've had 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not top liver out here. John says, 2-for-1. He said, heck, I might even think about 3-for-1. Nah, but 2-for-1, so why? 2-for-1 is what you do with
so remember
Northern Illinois or somebody.
No. I'm not. Here's the deal. And I'm gonna cite the late great Patrick Fain Dye. One of his
Sit up straight in your chair when you look at John. There he goes. Yes. Respect to that name.
One of his greatest lines, besides how long will it take to beat Alabama 60 minutes?
60 minutes.
Was also when he came up with the sandbox game. We'll go back there and play them in their sandbox. And they did it. And everybody went, you tell them, coach, we'll play them anywhere. It don't matter. Sandbox or not. Same thing with Notre Dame. If they want to be that arrogant, you got to look at it as maybe we'll win. I just hate this defeatist attitude. We don't want to play them. We might lose. You might win too.
It's not that. It's not that Auburn would be afraid to go play in South Bend. It's that, by gosh, they're treating us like we ought to be honored just to breathe the same air as them. We play pretty good football down here. As a matter of fact, that might be the reason why Notre Dame keeps short-arming Auburn about playing that game at all. Notre Dame's like, maybe so. I got to go down there.
Maybe so. But would there not be more satisfaction knowing you played their little game and beat them at it? Oh, man. We played Notre Dame 3 years in a row, twice in South Bend, and beat them all 3 times.
And now they'll never play us again.
Yeah, you're talking about Auburn people being giddy about that. They would probably be a little bent out of shape when it was first announced. But then after the fact, and you won them all, Alabama wouldn't even be a thought process with Auburn. See, this would be a cleanse for the Auburn nation. Quit fixating on Alabama, and you can relish the fact that you beat Notre Dame 3 straight years in a row, 2 in South Bend. I think it'd be great.
Here's the precedent that sets, though. If Auburn wants a home-and-home series with Ohio State or a home-and-home series that they want to propose to, I don't know, John's Blue Bloods, USC.
Well, I'm trying to think of a blue blood they're playing. I mean, Baylor.
They got
Miami,
Baylor. This is what they got. They got Baylor, Miami of Florida. I don't even think they got UCLA anymore.
Dropped them. Done.
That's basically it. Then if they agree to a 2-for-1 with Notre Dame, they ain't never getting a home and away with anybody else in John's blue
Florida
blood.
State did. Look what Florida State did. They'd go play anybody anywhere, and now
that was 1977.
Well, you got to take, if you want to play them bad enough.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either, actually. But now in the era of a 12, hopefully a 16-team college football playoff, Auburn's chances have increased dramatically. Well, have they? And
that's what I'm thinking. Have they? I don't think they really have.
Well, they got to make the playoff first. But hey, they're working their way towards the playoff. Just look at that great recruiting.
I will say this about future scheduling, one of John's nearest and dearest topics. Alabama has home and away with Ohio State. Alabama, at the end of the decade, 4 years from now, has a home and away beginning with Notre Dame. Home and away with, of course, Wisconsin right now, West Virginia.
I don't get that one. West Virginia,
Minnesota, Georgia Tech, home and away. I mean, they're scheduled out through 2035.
Don't forget that big one at the end, Barry.
Virginia Tech?
Boston
College. Yeah. Home and away with Boston College, Minnesota, Arizona, Oklahoma State. I think that, Oklahoma State home and away.
Come on. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of Minnesota. They stink.
But
I've already gotten in touch with Total Sports Travel. You know how I like to plan ahead, way ahead. Call back. We'll have the trip for you. We just have not settled and gotten everything figured out for the Boston College game.
So all that's going on. You look at Auburn's future schedules, the ones on the books. As far as Power Fives go, for the next 10 years, home and away with Baylor, home and away with Miami.
Friday night. I mean, that game's so boring. They're playing it on a Friday night. It's ridiculous.
Living it up. Oh yeah, Friday.
All right, so
that's it. That's all. Somebody,
come on, John,
needs to get on the stick here.
John Cohen, get on the phone. You need to be making some future non-conference schedules other than South Alabama. Was Troy not available?
That drives me nuts. So in that sense,
would you play the Jags?
In that sense, if you're doing it, if he's looking at the vast expanse of open dates that he's got for home and away contests for Auburn University football, and you got to start making phone calls, got to start cold calling people, finding prospects, and in that sense, you might as well lob a phone call to South Bend. Swing for the fences and all that. But
I'm with you.
I'm taking home and away. I ain't taking no 2-for-1 like I'm East Carolina or something.
I'd be willing to negotiate. Maybe they pick up some of the travel expenses or whatnot. Dennis Mitchell says I need to give West Virginia some love. There's nothing to love about West Virginia. I've never been to the state, so I actually did land. I've landed at an airport in West Virginia before.
Heck, I've been in West Virginia twice in the last 4 months.
West Virginia's football program, I mean, they have like a good year every now and then they just, nobody remembers what they do or who they are. So I don't know. Dennis, you got to convince me. You got to sell me more on West Virginia because I'm not buying. But Barrett, when we get back, Dennis had some earlier chat entries, probably geared more toward you. I think it was something about wrestling, I believe, or something like that. But Dennis has been active early this morning.
Love it. We're glad to have you along with us here. Our chat over on the side of our screen presented by Kenny and the staff at River Region Straw. Call them up, 669-5959. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne is joining me from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry in Pepper Tree on Vaughn Road. And Marianne, the month of May is here. So many great things going on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's May already. So many exciting things. We've got Mother's Day, graduations, weddings, showers, you name it. In May, we've got it. It's a jam-packed holiday-filled month, and we are ready to go to help you at Marguerite's because it is Earring Fest coupled with the rest of that. So what better way to help celebrate the lady in your life or the person in your life than beautiful earrings? Because, earrings, you don't have to worry about what size. They all fit.
They do all fit. You're right about that. With Mother's Day fast approaching, Earring Fest would be a great way to show Mom how much you appreciate her and love her, and so many different earring styles to choose from. Graduation gifts for the high school and college graduate as well. May seems to be a month that people like to pop the question as well. So you got that going on. And we can't forget, Marianne, Birthstone Emerald I think I'm right on that for May.
Great job. Yes, I almost forgot. How dare I? Yes, well played there, sir. It is emerald. So beautiful gemstone, lots of beautiful hues of green. We've got them in store at Marguerite's. Earrings, necklaces, rings, you've got it. So for all the May babies out there, you've got a great birthstone. Make sure that the person you love knows that you love those beautiful green emeralds.
Well, we know Marguerite's is open 7 days a week. Tell us where you're located and your hours of operation.
Sure. We're at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
May is going to be fantastic at Marguerite's. Make sure you go by and see them. Thank you so much, Marianne.
Thanks.
Okay, welcome back in. About 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Our man Josh Harris, the Moneyline Magician's, going to join us as he does in the second hour on Mondays. Looking forward to that. We got the Phantom's Daily Dog in the next hour, as well as Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel. So we got a lot going on in hour number 2. Before we get to some of Dennis's chats earlier today, Bill from Baltimore says Bama and Minnesota, Barry, they could fight it out for who the true champion was in 1941.
Minnesota used to be all that in college football. They had a Heisman Trophy winner in 1941. His name was Bruce Smith. They had a head coach. Oh, I can't think of his name now for Minnesota. Maybe it was Bernie Bierman, if I remember correctly. They were all that. Minnesota was rolling through people in the 40s right before, World War II. But Alabama won a 1941 championship. I think a Helms, maybe a Litkenhouse or something like that.
Dunkel.
And you gotta imagine those Minnesota fans. And, of course, if they were around in 1941, they're in their 80s at least, still kind of ticked off at Alabama for claiming.
I think Alabama was 9-2-1 that year. 9-2-1.
2 losses. And they awarded themselves, 50 years later, a national championship.
Who was that AD that put it on the letterhead years ago?
It was the SID. It was Wayne Atchison. Who all of a sudden, he had a free day in the middle of the summer with nothing going on. And he thought, let me do some research. They have played once before. Alabama and Minnesota has, and they're going to play again, home and away, in the Music City Bowl in 2004.
They sure did. I forgot about that.
And Minnesota won it.
Yeah.
20-16.
I think it was extremely cold that day.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Who was the coach for Alabama for that game? I'm trying to think.
2004. Was it Chula? Was it Dubose?
I think it was. Was it Dubose? No, Dubose was like 99. Dubose was gone by then.
He was gone by then. Had to be Shula then.
Yeah.
Had to be Shula. Yeah. So if I'm Alabama, I mean that's another team that they have a losing record overall against. I would imagine, Bill, that there's probably would be more push from Alabama than Minnesota, because they're sitting there right there looking at career one-loss record. Alabama 0, Minnesota 1.
Kind of like Rice, who has a winning record.
Probably has that same push.
Yeah,
with Rice.
I had a couple of things here from Dennis. I'll take the first one. John and Barry, your thoughts on Scott Cochran being the new head coach of West Alabama? Dennis, I don't have a lot of thoughts about that. Just to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
What city is that in Livingston? What city is West Alabama?
It is.
Livingston? Okay.
It's in Livingston, Alabama. And it's not a scenic town,
no,
I wouldn't
say.
So. I've been through Livingston and what else? It's not too far away from Meridian, Mississippi, Cuba, Alabama,
York.
York. Yeah, that's another one. I don't have much
me either.
About that myself. But if you've looked at his coaching staff at West Alabama, There's some familiar names out there. Bo Scarborough.
Former player.
Yep. He is the team's director of high school relations. Damian Square is the defensive line coach at West Alabama. O.J. Howard is on the staff. He is the director of player development. Blake Sims is the wide receivers coach there.
Man,
you got to know they really, enjoyed their time with Scott Cochran, who was the strength and conditioning coach at Alabama when they were there. If they elect to live in Livingston, Alabama, in their coaching career, because that's tough. That's tough.
So Dennis also wants to know your favorite helmet and uniform combination for the Florida Gators.
I don't love the Gator script on the side. Spurrier came up with that. I don't love that. It wasn't Spurrier. It was Charlie Pell, who was the coach at Florida when I was a student there. I don't love the Gators script. My favorite was what me and my family, my Gator family, called the Collinsworth helmet, which is the orange. Florida should always, always, always be orange helmet, blue jersey. Always. Orange on orange is okay, but orange and blue is where it's supposed to be. When Collinsworth played, you had the interlocking UF on the side. I had a little lamp on my bed that was a Florida helmet with a lamp on my bedstand. That's the classic helmet. That's what it needs.
Did Florida ever have a helmet with the state of Florida logo on the helmet?
No, Florida State did. Florida State did, which is screwed up because the state of Florida, that panhandle goes to the left, right? If you're looking north-south.
Yeah.
Which is great if it's on the left side of the helmet. But on the right side, it doesn't fit because it goes the other way. So plus they had a little star where Tallahassee was. That was lame.
If you ever look at an airplane, Barry, with an American flag on one side, the flag looks the right way, and on the other side it looks kind of backwards. But there's a reason. There's a reason that it's set up like that on an airplane. I'm sure it's set up that way on other ways as well. The way you look at it, I've heard. I don't know the exact reasons, but I know it has something to do with that. Okay, our man Josh Harris, the Moneyline magician, hopping on with us as he does on Mondays after a big weekend in sports. A lot to chat about today. Josh, how are you? Good morning. I see that goal line stand print behind you there in your office there. Man, there's a classic.
You got to let them know. I'm up here in Atlanta, Georgia.
If you look close enough, Josh, if you look close enough on that print, you might see Big C standing in the back. He was one of the managers for that team. Big C only stands about, 3 feet 8, Barry?
No, he's 4'1" if he's an inch.
4'1", okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Well,
awesome.
Big C. Yeah. So you're in Atlanta right now?
Yeah, that's where I live full time, which I'm usually never here. But
I was about to see you. I've seen you in Canada. I've seen you in somebody's backyard last week or anything. Being at home is kind of an odd thing on Monday mornings.
It's very strange. I don't really know where I am right now.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of
Atlanta,
let's just go ahead and dive right in on that.
We reference this every once in a while with the ups and downs of the Atlanta Braves, that it was 3 weeks ago that you said, even after the 0-7 start, that you still believe that the Braves will be a playoff team. We've referenced that off the air, when you're off the air, every once in a while. They win yesterday, which is valuable. They win 1 out of the 3 games against the Dodgers in Atlanta. How strong do you still feel about that statement earlier last month?
We're getting better. The Braves are continuing to improve, right? We are now 6 games back. Last week we were 6.5 games back.
There's a positive.
Yeah, there you go. And so, the Braves will be in contention every single year. It's just we can start off as bad as we want. We can finish as good as we want. We're going to be in contention for the playoffs and probably end up playing the Dodgers in a heartbreaking loss in the playoffs. That's just how it generally goes almost every single year. I remember I was back when I was in college, Bobby Cox got thrown out of a game right after he got thrown out of the game, me and my buddy also got thrown out of the bar. So
What?
we're like, let's go. So
Man,
we're right
that's pretty good. Thrown out of Bobby Cox seemed to get thrown out of a lot of games. If I'm not mistaken, Barry, did he not lead the major league?
He has the major league record.
Yeah.
To Josh's credit, he hasn't been thrown out of a bar 160 something times. Have you? Okay, all right. Just said that off the top of my head, and then I'm thinking, hang on
something.
Yeah.
So Bobby Cox
so you're halfway there. Okay.
Bobby Cox has been thrown out of as many games as a regular season lasts. It's about 160 games.
So he basically took a year off, right?
Yeah. So there was Bobby Cox. Who was it? We just signed a pitcher a couple weeks ago that made it like the 16th year in a row or something, or something crazy that post Bobby Cox that the Braves have still had a player that played for Bobby Cox on the team. Like still to this day, since he retired, a player that has been managed by Bobby Cox is still on the Braves. To this day.
That's a good.
Wow, that is amazing.
His impact on that franchise cannot be measured, John.
You know, and I just can't believe that he just had the bad luck, the misfortune of only capturing one World Series title with all that talent. You just kind of wondered, man, the guy was snake bit. I mean, wow.
What else can you say?
Was. Yeah, what else can you say? So the Braves lose 2 out of 3. I kind of put the pressure on them Friday on the show. I said, listen, if they can sweep the Braves at home, I will have a new attitude, a newfound love for the Braves. When I woke up Saturday morning to check the score, I knew that was out of the equation, but they did not get swept themselves. They were able to take the game last night. And Josh, at this point in time, and I've done this for many, many years, trying to calm down the Braves nation, let's just at least get to the All-Star break. Can we just get to that point first, and then we can really start getting serious?
That's my couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I mean, it's just that's my problem with baseball in general is like I can't get serious about it until maybe the last quarter of the season. Maybe the second half is great. Maybe after the All-Star break is probably a good point because it's just doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but there's 162 games. They've got to. I think we got to lower that. I think baseball is starting to get. It's doing better with the pitch clock, right?
Yeah,
that does help. Like I've gone to a couple games, and it just you don't get that like 7th inning where you're like, oh my God, the game's still going on, right? Like
oh, you feel that way too, huh? Okay.
John gets that way in the 3rd. You kidding?
Yeah, no kidding.
Unless you're at a Biscuits game, then it's fun all the whole time.
There you go.
Heck yeah, no kidding. Picking up 50-cent beer night. Let me ask you this, Josh. You bring up a good point about maybe scaling back the regular season. I don't think that's going to happen because they're not going to leave money on the table, but I like the idea. But through the years, I've come up with a lot of ideas about speeding the game up, making it more enjoyable. One thing, and I don't know the number today, Barry probably knows the number. I wanted them to expand interleague play. Back in the day when they never played anybody in the American League, it was just the same old teams over and over and over. I'd like to see more series with the Yankees, more series with the California Angels, more series with, some of these other Chicago White Sox. Whoever.
Has it been 20 years since they were the California Angels? 10, 15?
Still, yeah.
Does Rod Carew still play for him? Who was that?
I'm surprised he even knows that name.
But to your point, why not? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why do we need to play the Marlins 7 or 8 series a year? Like, I went to the Yankees-Braves game in New York last year. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was best baseball game I've probably ever been to outside of a playoff game. Aaron Judge hit a home run. It went a million feet. We lost, but it was still incredible to get to see that, go to Yankee Stadium. Like, that's the fun part of baseball is in my opinion, getting to go to all those different cities, going to see the stadiums. Like, went to Camden Yards and
nice.
in Baltimore, and it was just beautiful, right? I mean, that's the cool part of going to these games is going to all these. In my opinion, is going to these road games.
So you just in your response, you have encapsulated John's theory of living. When you say, why not? I swear to gosh, that's going to be, I'm surprised Longshore doesn't have it on a bumper sticker or something. He's been that way even in college. John was like, hey, you want to take a road trip to New Orleans?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Probably on my tombstone, it's going to say, why not?
Yeah.
Last words.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Barry, off the top of your head, do you know how many interleague games they play in a year? Out of 162, I think we could probably mix in maybe
40. Yeah.
40.
A lot more than there used to be.
46. I don't want to say I want to go 80, which is half of the regular season, but can we go 60?
46.
Yeah, but see, John, this is where the logical disconnect comes, Josh. John says, why not 60? It'd be so much for. This is what John wants, but he doesn't say. He wants the 60 interleague games to be the Yankees, maybe the
Boston.
Yankees and the Red Sox, maybe
Kansas City
probably
Royals.
About it, you know.
Don't want it. Don't want the Kansas.
That's the same thing with John with
I go to Kansas City.
Non-conference.
My first job offer was a work at a hospital for Airmark in Kansas City. When I applied for the sports team, the sports side selling jerseys or not jerseys, but uniforms and food to concessions at sports stadiums, they're like, we don't have that job, but we'll put you in a hospital in Kansas City, and you can do the hospitality there. And I was like, I think I'm gonna go work somewhere else.
Well, in the spirit of why not, and we've already talked about your background picture and everything, Daniel Moore, little watercolors, why not? You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people who looked at that and saw Saban with the presidential seal in front of them, and they got a little misty-eyed. Josh, at convention last week.
My brother was there. He graduated this past weekend. My brother graduated, so he was there. He was they were having a big he loved it. He loved it. He was like, he's been talking for an hour and 10 minutes, and I'm still laughing.
And he's trying. You've got Trump up there talking about something, and you got people up there tapping their watches up there thinking, all right, can we get back to Saban? I mean, he only spoke for like, come on now, let's go.
In what world are we in now when the president of the United States is standing in Coleman Coliseum listing off the accolades of Tide hoops in the past couple of years?
Yeah. How about that?
That is big time. That was, I mean, as an Alabama basketball fan, that's amazing.
That's a good point, because everybody that ever comes to speak like that, whether it's a politician, whatever, they always talk about football. They never talk about basketball or any of the other sports. And I did pick up on that. And Barry, you mentioned this on Friday about Saban walking out first in front of Trump.
Yeah,
I saw the video.
Yeah, he was there. I think it was him. It was him and Stewie and Trump. And Trump said, Saban motioned for him first. He's the president of the United States. And Trump says, no, if you win as many games as you have, you get to go first. And I still wouldn't have done it. I said, no. Protocol. Yeah.
Out of all the presidents to let someone go first, too. I mean, he
ain't that guy.
He is not a let you go first type guy. He was first in line every time he was in class. Like, nobody's cutting me. I'm in front.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He knows he's at the University of Alabama. You better let Coach Saban go first.
Yeah.
Good move.
Yeah. Hey, also, he mixed in Bear Bryant, Joe Namath. He got those two guys in, which are huge. Somebody wrote a good speech for him. Heck, he even mentioned Montgomery. I couldn't even believe that. I thought, wow, really? All right, so back to baseball. Besides the interleague play, are there any rules that need to be changed? I mean, I've got a ton of them. Barry starts rolling his eyes. Some of them they've actually implemented that I've suggested over the years.
Drives me nuts.
The one that gets me is pitching changes. You got to limit it. If you're paying this guy millions of dollars to get people out, then let him do it. And if he can't, I mean, my theory is you got to at least get 3 people out.
Can we try metal bats and put helmets on the outfielders?
Oh, you'd kill somebody. Aaron Judge with a metal bat.
Huh.
How would you like to be a third baseman with Aaron Judge with an aluminum bat? Yikes!
Well, if you're getting paid that much, then let me see how good you are.
Well,
we definitely wouldn't have 162 games. I can tell you that.
What you've got is what John says. You know, he's all about speeding the game up. You know, it takes too long and everything. Yeah, you let one of those Humpty Dumpty pitchers out there. You say no, you got to finish the inning, and he's out there. It's like 9 runs, and he's throwing beach balls up there. That ain't slowing the game.
At least I'm seeing something.
I've been in that situation, not as a pitcher, even worse as a catcher. We were playing a JV baseball game at Montgomery Academy, and I'm playing catcher, and we were just getting smoked. We didn't have any pitchers left. And so we've got this poor guy on the mound, I won't say his name, just throwing it up there. I caught for an hour in one inning.
Oh,
and I'm sitting back there just like, please, dear God, like 10-run rule, like something, put someone else in. You know, we had player 6. We had someone that wasn't a pitcher pitching, or let me go pitch and someone else sit back here. We're done for anyway.
Yeah. I mean, when you're wishing for the 10-run rule, it's pretty bad. Wow. Oh,
yeah. We just had to get out of that inning. But I do think we continue. The serious answer is just continue to speed it up. But also, that's going to help TV ratings. But going to the games, I think people want to be there, right? For that. The experience of going to a baseball game is really, if you're not a sports fan, is probably unmatched. Like anyone that doesn't like sports, if you're going to pick a event to go to, like my wife, for example, she does like sports, but I think her favorite sporting event is baseball because she can go have a beer and a hot dog and not have to pay attention to anything other than just enjoying being outside. But seriously, for the people that don't like sports,
yeah,
it's a great sport to go to. So
does it really count being at a baseball game if all you're interested in is a beer and a hot dog and having nothing on the field bother you, you know?
I mean, I think it counts. I think that's what half the stadium's there for most of the time.
Oh, ain't no doubt about it. You know, I've even been accused of cheering for the visiting team at a Biscuits game just so the game won't go to extra innings. I'm going, let's go.
Yeah. All right, final question I've got. Second round NBA playoffs. Thunder Nuggets, Celtics, Knicks, a.k.a. ratings bonanza, Cavs and Pacers, Timberwolves and the Warriors. Which one's the best second round series?
Wolves and Warriors.
Really?
In my opinion. I love that. I love that because you've got Jimmy Butler now playing with the Warriors, which is interesting to me. And I don't watch a lot of NBA until the playoffs. So that'll be interesting. I don't even know if I've seen them play a game yet outside of the playoffs with Jimmy Butler. And then you've got Anthony Edwards, which is, I mean, is he the new guy? Like,
yes, love
everyone
him.
knows he's really good, but is he him? Is he the guy that's going to, is he the best player in the league right now? I mean, like, it's LeBron's old, Luka's out of shape. So it's up for grabs. Yeah. Who's the best player in the NBA? And I think he could take Curry's getting old. And so you've got somebody that needs to take over and take that spot as, number one. And I think he's the clear leader on that team as well.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah, it's interesting. You reeled off a lot of those names that most casual NBA fans recognize, Steph, LeBron, whatnot. But you got a lot of players now on teams that people just aren't familiar with the teams. I mean, we've talked about Cleveland. Nobody knows how good Cleveland is. OKC's damn good. The Timberwolves, I was on them during the Lakers series thinking you better not sleep on this team. They're pretty good. So you're right. A lot of these younger these teams that aren't as well known with some younger talent are emerging. And if they win it, they'll get traded to the Lakers or one of these big market teams, and then everybody will know about them.
Yeah, and it is interesting because it has been – I mean, you had Jordan, clear best player. LeBron comes onto the scene, clear front runner. I know there's a lot of people that would argue, that are LeBron haters, but until now, until maybe the last couple of years, you've had for the last 30 years 2 guys that were clearly the best player in the league. And so who's that? Will there be another player like that? Or is it going to just, continue to move up and down? Is there going to be that next revolutionary player that comes to the NBA? Some people are saying it's Cooper Flagg. We'll see. I think he is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
But LeBron didn't play college. Can you imagine how good he would have been in college? Like, he's a freak. So I am interested to see who's going to be that next guy, who's going to be someone that can take over, and when will that happen?
So of the best players, you had Kevin Garnett, who played with the T-Wolves. You had Kobe, you had LeBron. Those 3 did not go to college. Are we missing somebody in the NBA that was as well known or is that good? That did that too?
Well, Charles Barkley didn't go to class. Does that count? I'm asking John specifically because he can relate.
I think that's going to be our highlight clip today. What time was that? 8? Okay, yeah.
He didn't go to class. Does that count? But Charles, for all of the goofiness he is, I do not like many Auburn athletes. I love that man. I mean, he's unbelievable. He is an American.
Hey, next week when we have more time, I'll have to tell you my brush with greatness with Barkley. He was coming out of a dry cleaner in New York City.
Yeah, that's coming up next week. Josh Harris joins us. Always quality content. We do appreciate it. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.
See y'all next week.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. The Moneyline magician, Josh Harris, joining us here on a Monday to recap. That was a pretty good one there, Barry. What about that? Kevin,
I just wanted a ruling on it,
Yeah. Kevin, I said Kobe, Garnett, and LeBron.
Yeah.
Was there any other player that did not go to high school that went on to have an incredible NBA career?
That went straight from high school? I'm going to have to research that because I know there are. I just can't think of them. Right? There've been some bombs.
Oh,
some guys who came out of high school, went straight to the NBA, and turned out not to be very good, but they still made millions.
Yes.
It's 22 minutes into.
Speaking of the NBA, Barry, when we come back, the Phantom's Daily Dog.
All right. You have to give the public what they want. Mm-hmm. It's coming up next. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Okay, welcome back out. Back out. Welcome back to the program here, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in association with our friends at Yellowhammer News. Check it out, yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out there as well.
Before the dog of the day, there have been 41 players who got drafted by the NBA and didn't go to college. Not counting international players like Jokic and Dirk Nowitzki and people like that. A lot of them I've never heard of before. One of them that has already been brought up, Sean Kemp, Amari Stoudemire, Dwight Howard. He didn't go to college. There's a guy from Montgomery. Somebody help me out here. Obviously I should know this. Usman Cisse.
That rings a bell.
He went to St. Jude.
I remember him.
Cisse went in the second round. Some of those guys, you're like, who in the world is that? Dorell Wright, Martell Webster, some of those guys. So it's been hit or miss. But yeah, Garnett, Kobe, Tracy McGrady, Jermaine O'Neal, Stoudemire, of course, LeBron, Dwight Howard, those guys. And a couple of guys who went first in the draft. Andrew Bynum went first round, and the number one pick in the draft one year, 2001, Kwame Brown. Out of high school, number one pick. Who in the heck is Kwame Brown? So, it's not all immediate stardom or anything with that stuff. Daryl Dawkins.
Chocolate Thunder, Daryl Dawkins.
Yeah.
I don't believe he went to college.
Nope. Daryl Dawkins was from Orlando. I remember when he played. He called himself Chocolate Thunder. Daryl's no longer with us, but he had a certain zest for living. He used to break backboards in the NBA about every 2 weeks. So there you go. Speaking of the NBA.
Yes. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We've only got
second round. First round's over. First round's done in the NBA. Now, the Phantom's daily dog doesn't always have to be in the NBA, but heck, have you seen his record lately in the NBA? I'd be sticking with the NBA myself.
Yeah. We got 8 teams left that are playing. We got the Eastern semifinals and the Western semifinals. In the East, we've got the Knicks and the Celtics, and the Pacers and the Cavaliers. If you weren't paying attention, Indiana's already up 1-0 against Cleveland, but they play tomorrow night in Cleveland. We'll get to that maybe tomorrow. But tonight, also Golden State and Minnesota in the West. So those are the 4 playoff series, the 8 teams that are still in it. Now, Barry mentioned the Phantom and the NBA.
Was good to him last week.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good week, actually. And it started the Friday before. If you've been taking notes and keeping score, the Phantom has covered 6 straight games in the NBA. Did not have a loser the entire week last week and the Friday before that last week. So 6 in a row, the Phantom has reeled off. The last one was Friday night as the Rockets were a 5.5-point favorite at the Golden State Warriors. 5.5 points in that game.
Yep.
On Friday night, Houston won the game 115-107.
Yeah.
Yep, they sure did. But Golden State took care of them yesterday to win the series, and they move on. But Friday night, they took care of business. 6 in a row. Now, I know what you're thinking here. But I want to go back to a movie that's on my top 20 list. Might be even higher than that. Might be in the top 10. I'm not sure it's in the top 10, but it's closer to top 10 than it is top 20. Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
And there's a scene in Pulp
Tarantino.
Fiction
yeah.
where Jules and Vincent are cleaning all the blood out of a car.
Yeah.
And they got to get it all cleaned up in a short period of time.
That one black kid who was in the room whenever he was eating the it wasn't the hula burger. That's a tasty burger, you know.
Yeah, it was a tasty burger. Yeah, that was earlier in the movie.
That was earlier in the movie, but it's that same kid had a little accident with him in the back of the car.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
Yeah, and so they had to get it cleaned up. And evidently, who knew? There's one guy who specialized.
He did. As a matter of fact, he was the producer of the movie in real life. Quentin Tarantino played that part. They went to his house to get it cleaned up. So they get it cleaned up, and one of the other key characters was a guy named Winston the Wolf.
The Wolf, yes.
The Wolf is how
I want to say that was Harvey Keitel.
It was Harvey Keitel. Yeah. He was the Wolf. And I'm not going to tell you what the Wolf said, but the story goes, the words of the Wolf.
Yes.
And that's all I'm saying right here about the Phantom on this incredible hot streak of covering 6 straight NBA dogs in a row.
Yes.
Hey, look, we love it. We appreciate it. And thanks for all the compliments and the love. Haven't seen any. Hello, folks.
Now, when the Phantom misfires on one of the Phantom's daily dogs, that's when some of you guys like to take shots.
Yeah, you do.
And if in a fair and just world, which is all any of us are laboring towards, you would also be giving the Phantom a pretty good bit of credit for this run, because what he's doing these days ain't easy.
You would think so, Barry. You're right. So, okay, if you want to play that game, that's fine. But 6 in a row, and we're going back to the NBA tonight at 6 p.m. on TNT.
That's the first game of the doubleheader.
It is. It's the first game of the Eastern semifinals as well. Game 1 tonight, where the New York Knicks traveling to the Garden, taking on Boston. Is it still called the Garden?
It's like the TD Ameritrade Garden or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
You and I interviewed the CEO one time.
Yeah, okay.
Joe
the Celtics, it's interesting, Barry. Both favorites tonight are favored by 9.5 points. Boston is favored by 9.5 points. Oklahoma City at home favored by 9.5 against the Denver Nuggets. But we're going to Boston tonight, where we're going to take the New York Knicks catching 9.5. Probably not going to win the game, but we think they can get under the 9.5 tonight. So your Phantom's daily dog for Monday night, 6 o'clock, the Knicks plus 9.5. Let's see if we can extend this to 7 games in a row.
It was a hot week last week. Let's see if the Phantom can get off to a hot start to begin this week in the Phantom's daily dog. When we come back.
Yeah, I want to pass this along before we go back, Barry. You know, our reach is, it's worldwide. It's international.
Yeah.
And we have a viewer today checking us out from Montego Bay, Jamaica today. So we appreciate that. Took some pictures of the early morning there in Montego Bay overlooking the beach. And we really appreciate that. So any of our viewers and listeners, when you're traveling and you want to send us a picture of where you are to let us know where you're viewing or listening, we greatly appreciate that.
That's a very good song, by the way, by Bobby Bloom. Whoa, Montego Bay.
I've never been to Jamaica. Really don't have a desire to, but I've never been.
I'd like to go.
So it's I like the smaller kind of out of the way islands. But I mean, if you're gonna send me, okay, let's go.
Yeah. And if you can get me give me a ride to the Montgomery Regional Airport and all that kind of stuff, and
I'd
give
be
me a ride back. That'd be great. Yeah. Let's take a break. When we come back, more to come on this Monday
Mal's checking
edition.
In. Yeah, we'll get in with Mal's chats too. Yeah, about the break.
Dodger Smack coming up in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing. and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
All righty, welcome back in, everybody. It is about 24 minutes to the top of the hour, and Mal's chimed in from over in Atlanta, as was Josh Harris, our guest earlier today.
Mel
Braves
says,
are 1-5 against the Dodgers. Ooh.
Well, they were 0-3 to open the season, and they were 1-2 in the series in Atlanta.
There's a positive. Yeah.
He says, John, did you know that the Braves are 1-5 versus the Dodgers for 2025? Barrett Sallee, the worst predictor in North America, went on and on Friday about all the reasons that the Braves could beat the LA Dodgers. Barrett, by the way, works. He's on the air for the Braves. He does that. I guess scoring more runs isn't one of those reasons.
I guess Barrett Sallee. Do I know that guy? Oh, he's on with Luganville. I believe.
Yeah, I like him. Okay, I like Barrett Sallee a lot, as a matter of fact. So yeah, he does like pregame for the Braves. He hosts that. He does a lot of stuff. I mean, it would be even bigger news, Mal, if Barrett said, oh, gosh, we're going to get our clocks cleaned by this team. You've seen the Dodgers? Good gosh, they're a ton better than we are. Yeah, that would have been more newsworthy.
Is this the same guy I've heard referenced on Tighter Insider message board as an Alb?
Oh, yeah. Which is, according to Tighter Insider message board, the worst thing you could call somebody.
He's an Alb homer.
Yeah,
I believe I've read that before.
And if you could work in Auburn something into a person's name on Tighter Insider, you are golden on there. Lugan Barner, those kind of things. They love that stuff. Here's something for Alabama fans you can hang your hat on, kind of like you did in 2010 when you lost that big lead against Auburn in Tuscaloosa, and Auburn went on to win the national championship that year. Well, they had Cam Newton, and we all know that he got paid $180,000, even though the NCAA said that he didn't.
Yeah.
A lot of people still stinging from that absolute non-starter for the Alabama football team, their last time out, losing to a Michigan team that had zero offense.
Did they? What game are you talking about?
It was they played in a bowl game. If you look, I mean, check on. You can go to Roll Tide, and it's in all the record books. Alabama played in a bowl game this past year. It was a non-college football playoff bowl game because they didn't make it, so they ended up playing Michigan. And to be honest, I cannot tell you exactly right now where that game was. Might have been in Tampa, might have been in Orlando, might have been in Boise, for all I know. Anyway, Alabama did not win that game. And people say, no, big deal. I mean, it was Michigan, but hey, no big deal. You can kind of ease your pain with a little bit of a rationalization here. Just now, Michigan head coach Sharon Moore is expected to be suspended for the first 2 games of this year. Due to self-imposed sanctions by the University of Michigan for the Connor Stallions advanced scouting scandal. He won't be able to coach, I think it's Ball State and Nebraska. He can't. Now, you may remember that Jim Harbaugh, when he was a coach at Michigan, he wasn't able to coach in 2 games, but they let him coach in practice. Well, what the word is they ain't even going to let Sharon Moore coach in practice. Again, the Connor Stallions advanced scouting scandal. Stallions was the director of something for Michigan, and he would get his guys out there, buy a ticket, sit in the stands at other teams' games. It's on Michigan's schedule, and film from the stands. That's it. That's a whole. That seemed like that bad of a deal to me. I
don't know why that's illegal. I just think that's pretty innovative.
Yeah, I mean, they'd get their iPhone out and they'd get pretty good tickets and they'd pay for them. Yeah. And they'd get like the Nebraska Northwestern game with whoever played against Michigan the next week or 2 weeks away, and they'd just sit there and film it. What's wrong with that? Anyway, it's bad enough to where he wasn't suspended by the Big Ten or he wasn't suspended by the NCAA. He's suspended by Michigan. So you can tell yourselves, Alabama fans, why you lost that game. They were cheating. It's a bunch of cheaters. Yeah. That's Michigan, who, by the way, going to be pretty good this year if their freshman quarterback works out. We'll have
wait a minute. So
later on this year.
Alabama lost their bowl game to a bunch of cheaters?
That's what you can say. That's what you can say. Well, that's why we lost. Those guys were cheating. So
yeah. Well, there again, I've heard the same thing about a game in 2010 that you referenced earlier as well.
Yeah, it's that same kind of a thing. So.
Okay.
Right. We can hit up.
There was one other thing I was. I've just completely lost my track of thought. There was. Maybe I mentioned this last week. I don't know if I did or not, but it caught my attention here. Seeing that the Birmingham Stallions of the UFL are now 4-2 in the league. Is the UFL going to make it? Is it going to die? Because there are 0 people at these games. I mean, the stands, I've seen more people at a high school game. A lot of high school games have more people than UFL. I don't get it.
In that vein of thinking, my reaction is that I am happy for Garth Brooks. Garth loves some of his songs. My favorite Garth Brooks songs isn't Friends in Low Places like it is with everybody. My favorite Garth Brooks song is I'm Much Too Young to Feel This Old. If he had not played in a concert at, Protective Stadium, right? If he had not played in a concert at Protective Stadium, if it wasn't for that, I would be able to say with absolute certainty that in the entire history of that stadium, there's about 500 seats that have never been sat in, ever, for anything, except for the Garth Brooks concert. There are seats that nobody has ever sat in for a UAB game, ever. There are seats nobody has ever sat in, certainly for a Stallions game. If it wasn't for Garth Brooks, that place would have never even come close to selling out for anything.
I'm with you. But some of these games I see on television, it's just not the Stallions. I mean, you look at some of these games in these other markets, nobody's there.
The Battle Hawks,
and I can't imagine the television ratings are any good, but that to me falls back to, are you going to show a rerun of the World Series of Poker or the cheerleading competition at SeaWorld, or are you going to show a live sporting event? Obviously, a live sporting event will get a better rating than a rerun of a poker match, I guess.
I don't know. There was this one Gunsmoke I was watching last week. This is one of the early black and whites with Chester instead of Festus, where Matt Dillon, he had a guy that was gunning for. Well, anyway, it just.
I just wonder about that. Spring, people are outside. They're not sitting in there watching football on the weekends. How much?
I'm with you.
How much more can they spend? I mean, I'm pulling for them. I'd like to see it work, but man, it's embarrassing. And nobody talks about the Stallions. I hear these guys out of Birmingham trying to pump them up, but nobody else around the state. I mean, hey, I think if you polled 100 people from Huntsville to Mobile, you say, hey, do you know who the Birmingham Stallions are? They probably know. Who are they? Don't know. Don't have a clue. So, and I'm not sure they're big in Michigan or San Antonio or Houston or some of these other cities that these UFL teams. I'm trying to think that what team is furthest west in the UFL. I don't believe there are any California teams, Colorado, Arizona. Probably Houston or San Antonio might be the furthest west in the UFL. So how does that interest people out west?
Let's see. Birmingham, Houston, Memphis, Michigan, Arlington, D.C., San Antonio, and St. Louis. There aren't any west of the Pecos, Yeah. St. Louis is basically just straight north from Memphis.
So is San Antonio the furthest west, or is Dallas? Or maybe even St. Louis? Is St. Louis further west than Dallas?
No, St. Louis is not even close to as far west. It's San Antonio.
Yeah, so you have nobody on the West Coast.
You have nobody in Florida. You have nobody in New York. You got nobody in California. Those are 3 of the 4 most populous states in the country.
And they promoted. Fox promotes it a lot. This is a loser in my mind. I hate it, but it's a loser. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, the wheel is loaded, and I see a lot of topics on that wheel. So we're going to get to Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel after this quick timeout.
In association with Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
There we go. All right, back at it here. Whoa, about 14 minutes to the top of the hour on this Monday, and the Victoryland 777 topic wheel is loaded up, ready to go. What do you
Here we are.
Ooh, I like the little sound effect there. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it makes it seem like there's these little nails in the rim of it that, yeah.
4, got to be golf, all right?
Jordan Spieth.
Oh, looked like he hit somebody. Let's see.
No, that's it. Moving to the left. 4. Going with the car path. Go car path.
Ooh.
I think it smashed the car
Got
path,
somebody.
Ooh. He's on the ground.
I think it one hopped off the car path into somebody, or else it would have gotten in a much worse position. I liked how, well, I didn't really like it. I think he should have yelled.
Yeah, you got to yell a little louder than that, Jordan. I mean,
4?
Wow. 4, please.
4?
Why do they do that, Barry, at Augusta? I mean, you should yell. 4 is a universal word for a warning cry.
Yes.
Why do you say 4, please, on the first tee at Augusta National before they tee off? That's not a warning.
Yep. It was on the 12th hole at the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. It went right, as you can see. He knew right away that he pushed it right towards the cart path. But he said, you heard it, 4.
So
yeah,
look.
and anyway, there's the Golf Channel or Golf's Sean Zach clipped it. I think that's where Gurn got it from. He called it the Mount Rushmore of apathetic 4 calls, and somebody underneath it said that is criminal. Somebody is going to get sued soon. Well,
I think on the ticket, when you buy the ticket and you walk in there, you know what the risks are. So I don't like the chances of a lawsuit there. I think similar to baseball, you better be paying attention. I've said that many a time, particularly at Riverwalk Stadium. You sit down the first baseline, you better be paying attention. Because I've seen some balls whiz into that section and people aren't paying attention.
Take your responsibility for your own self.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to move until I heard somebody 225 yards away yell 4. And who's to say, this is why some people that I know that play golf say that's why they don't yell 4, because, it's going over there and some guy doesn't know where it's going and he'll, run out of the way or try to run out of the way and run right into the path of the ball.
Sure.
Who knows? I mean, that is the luck of the draw right there.
And there again, I think you need to be somewhat paying attention. I think this is an appropriate position to use the term grab-assing. You just can't be at these events grab-assing. You got to be paying attention.
That's right. Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And take responsibility. When I get, if you get hit by a baseball or something, my bad. Yeah, it got me. I was looking at, baby pictures or something like that.
That's right.
You're checking that over there in section 106.
That's right. You see this hottie walking up the steps in the section over there on the by the third baseline.
Believe me, that's worth getting clocked on the arm by a foul ball. You know
what can happen. All right, Gurn, let's load it up, spin it again.
Yep.
Let's see what's going on here today. A lot of topics over the weekend here. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Open 24/7. You can be a winner too. As the Troy Trojans are and winning, have not lost a baseball series this year.
Yep, the only team in the country that has not. Troy was able to win 2 out of 3 at South Alabama over the weekend. Troy was trailing in the game yesterday in the 9th inning, 3-2 in the 9th inning. Sean Darnell from good old Wetumpka, Alabama, hits a grand slam in the 9th inning. Troy led at that point 6-3. They end up winning it 6-5. Trojans will have Alabama in Troy tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. That game is a hard sellout. 2 teams ranked in the top 20. Should be great. Alabama beat Troy by, I think it was 3-1 back in Tuscaloosa 2 months ago. Troy will play at Samford on Wednesday and then continues that trip up to Arkansas State. I'll do the show Thursday from Memphis and Friday from Jonesboro, Arkansas. But then again, also, starting tomorrow, it's the Sun Belt Conference Softball Championships. That'll be held in Troy at the Troy Softball Complex. Troy will play on the opening day Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I think there are 9 games in the Sun Belt Softball Championships in Troy, and it all begins on Wednesday. You can go on out and check those out as well. There's
awesome
on in Troy these days.
Fantastic. Yep. Good stuff. Big week ahead for the Trojans. Okay, Gurn, let's see what else. We got 4 more topics. I know we can get through these before the top of the hour. And it's going to land on, could this be
Rodgers?
Rodgers?
Yeah, with a question mark. Is Aaron Rodgers, A, does he still have it anymore? Or B, it's like that good-looking woman. Is he worth it?
Yeah.
Obviously,
he thinks he can. He's going to try to prove all the naysayers wrong. But I do wonder that, Barry. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers is enough to give Pittsburgh what they want. Ben Roethlisberger sure did hang around a long time.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, they had Russell Wilson last year. They have, I think that they have extended an offer to his agent. Rodgers spent the weekend in Louisville at Churchill Downs. I think he might have proposed over the weekend.
Oh, boy.
But Rodgers has a chance to either retire. He's like 41 now or something like that. And he wasn't all that effective for the Jets, who were terrible. So he's got a decision to make. Does he want to walk away from football right now? Or will he go play for Pittsburgh, who evidently feels that they're a quarterback away from making the playoffs and all that kind of stuff? We'll have to hear from Robbie about that. But it all depends also on how much money. And again, A, is he worth that much money? And B, is he worth all of the drama and stuff? And, he's whoever the offensive coordinator is or the quarterback coach is, they're going to have to deal with him because he's going to act like he knows everything. And, he's going to countermand their play calls and all that stuff. I would stay away from him, and I like him okay. He's had a great career.
Can he stay healthy for 17
That's the
games?
other thing. He's old, too.
Yeah.
So.
Can he stay healthy?
Good
All right, Gurn, it's another good one. Yeah, 3 more to go. Let's get them ready here. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, I-85, exit 22, open 24/7. Victoryland, you can be a winner, too.
Oh, this was good.
Was
good. If you missed this, and I'm not a huge hockey fan, but if you missed this, this was amazing. This was in Winnipeg in Game 7.
Lowry, Dion, again Fleury, looking for the tip. It's a pass.
This is in double overtime.
He gets it. Dion shoots. Tip. They score. Game over. Series over.
Now, the Jets win it over the St. Louis Blues in Winnipeg. Double overtime Game 7. Here's the deal.
Ooh.
The Winnipeg Jets were losing. And again, it's Game 7, season over for somebody. They were losing by 2 goals in the final 2 minutes.
Ooh.
They score 1 to get within 3-2, and then they force overtime with just 1.6 seconds on the clock. They get Cole Perfetti had a redirect goal there. They end up tying it. They go to double overtime. Adam Lowry scores the game-winning goal in double overtime after they were trailing by 2 in the final 2 minutes.
All right, here's my question.
Who coaches the Blues? Mario Cristobal?
Who's the goalie? And did he get on the plane home? Or did they leave him in Winnipeg? I mean, you give up 3 goals and 2 in the last 2 minutes
2
and then
minutes,
1 in double overtime? Whew, that goalie.
Excellent question.
He might not have made the trip home.
Okay, so there we go. So Winnipeg moves on. It's just the 14th Game 7 in NHL history to go to double overtime, and it was the 3rd longest game ever, 96 minutes and 10 seconds.
Man, the
There you go.
Winnipeg Jet. And their CFL team is the Blue Bombers, I believe.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You have just heard everything John can tell you about Winnipeg, Canada.
Barry, I've actually been through Winnipeg on a train. How about that? So I've actually been through that. I don't think I stopped in Winnipeg, but I've had been through Winnipeg on a train before. Beautiful part of the world. All right, let's spin the wheel. 2 more topics to go. Let's do it.
Here we are.
And we're going to stop on, too tired. Too tired. I've heard that before. Anyway, we're talking about basketball. Okay. All right.
About Nikola Jokic. The Nuggets. He may be the best player in the NBA. He's won a couple, 3 MVPs. He is amazing. But they have got to give him some rest. They rely on him for everything. They got other good players, Murray and people like that. But Jokic, he's like 7 feet tall. He is an incredible player. But he's big, weighs about 270, 280.
Ooh, yeah.
And they need to rest him, but they can't. Because they are nowhere near as good a team when he's not playing.
Yeah, and Barry, they're playing a team that's young and it can move, can run.
And that's what you do against Jokic. Yep. You run up and down the court because he is a great shooter, great passer. He's an NBA MVP candidate. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an MVP candidate for Oklahoma City. I think he'll win it. But he's going to have to play just about every 48 minutes.
Going to be tough. We better drink a lot of water. All right, let's spin the last one just to make it official.
Yep.
Make it official here, and it's spinning around, and it will be official once it stops, and it's going to land on another record. Another record's broken. What do we got?
Oh, Katie Ledecky. Yeah.
Oh,
she's like 30-something now, and she's already the best middle distance swimmer.
Is that a woman?
History.
Scroll back down a little bit.
She's amazing. Yep.
Wow. Man.
That's Katie.
Yep.
Look at those biceps. Holy smokes. Yeah, Ledecky's all that. She's maybe the greatest women's swimmer ever. She's certainly the greatest middle distance women's swimmer ever. And, she's been at it for a while. She's been in the Olympics, I think, 3 different times, but she's swimming as well now as she ever has, which is
awesome.
Crazy. She set another world record. I think she set 2. She broke the 800-meter freestyle world record, which, it happens. She broke the record, but she was the one that set the record 10 years ago.
Broke her own record.
She broke her own record after 10 years. I mean, who in the world continues to swim at world record pace for 10 years? She's the best I've ever seen. I've seen some good ones.
That's good stuff. Hey, Gurn, great topics today.
And salute to Gurn for picking a swimming topic. And we went through the entire discussion about a swimming topic without John bringing up that swimming and diving coach that Jay Jacobs ran 10 years ago.
He won a couple of natties.
More than a couple. He won a bunch of them.
Guys winning natties. He doesn't. Unbelievable. Yeah. Hey, Robbie, we go off at 9. You need to get up a little earlier, buddy.
9 o'clock on the dot, Robbie. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on. Get up earlier.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Travis Ryer on YouTube, Talking Tide. We'll have those 2 gentlemen join us tomorrow as they normally do. A lot more to talk about here on Longshore, McKnight tomorrow as well. So make sure you don't miss it.
There you go. For Gurn Jr., our fantastic producer, for John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.